So you want to buy a condo. Do you know the difference between a warrantable and non-warrantable condo? We're going to talk about that today on Just Mortgages. So you want to buy a condo, and do you know the difference between a warrantable and non-warrantable condo? I would write those two terms down because it's very important. Let's walk through them real quick. I want to try to put this in layman's terms. Warrantable means that Fannie or Freddie, which is the governmental agencies that do conventional loans, warrantable means will they allow for their loans to be attached to those type of properties. If they're not, there's what's called a condo questionnaire. There's a 3-page form that's sent to the homeowners association. They have to fill out and answer all these questions. You need to know about these questions too as a buyer. Believe me, there's some interesting questions you want to know about. Are there any litigation in there? Does somebody own more than 10% of the whole condo complex? You should be concerned about that too. Because if you have one person in there that owns more than 10% and they go bankrupt and dump all of their condominiums out on the marketplace at once in a bankruptcy, your values may go down with those sales. So you want to be concerned about, do you want to be in a complex that's owned and controlled by 10% owner? Now, if you have a brand new project, the developer by default owns more than 10% because he's only sold 25%, he owns 75%. I'm not talking about that, I'm talking about 10% when it's already been sold to the end users, okay? So that's important. Those are things that are in that questionnaire that you need to know about. That questionnaire protects you as the buyer. That questionnaire is important to make sure that you can get the best terms available. If you go non-warrantable, your rate's going to be higher. It's going to be harder for you to sell that property later on, because if it's hard for you to get financing now, it's going to be harder for the buyer, the next buyer, to get it. So we've got to always think about it. So you need to understand that a warrantable condo is a lot better for you to own than a non-warrantable condo. So we're talking about conventional. Let's talk about FHA. If it's an FHA approved facility, HUD is the FHA underwriter for FHA, so Federal Housing Administration, Housing and Urban Development. HUD has to approve a condo complex. They go in there and have them fill out a bunch of forms and they have to approve the whole complex. Conventional, like we talked about before, is case by case, you know, that they do not go in and do the whole project at once. FHA, it has to be an approved complex. VA is like conventional. We figure all that out. We're experts in condo financing, but we're going to make you aware of any of the pitfalls of that project so you're not making a mistake and buying into something that you're not aware of and having 10% owners. You have litigation, you have all kinds of things that may come back to haunt you later. So at Just Mortgages, as condo experts, we make sure we work through that and we make you aware of that so you don't buy a property that later on it's hard to sell. You know, I became an expert in condo financing many years ago when my Better Business Bureau rep referred a builder to me that was building condos, and a major bank had left 7 borrowers without a lender. That they had said they could do the project and then left 7 people said we can't do the project. Now, they brought them to me and I was able to close all 7 of those loans, and of course I became their prime lender at that point in time. So lending in condominiums is a very tricky area. We know how to do it, and I always tell my clients when they call, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a condo or buying a single family home or buying a townhome, things like that. And I always try to steer them away from condominiums and make them aware that, look, that's a whole different animal and it's very hard to get financing, because if you get a non-warrantable condo, condo that's not standard financing, you're going to put down 20% plus. If you're doing standard financing on a standard condo that meets Fannie and Freddie requirements and is warrantable, 5% down. So there is a big difference in the down payment, and your terms are going to be substantially different. So just be aware of that as you move forward and think about purchasing a condominium. So how do you figure out if a project is warrantable or non-warrantable? Well, the only way to do it is a condo questionnaire sent to the homeowners association. So if there's ever a question, because most of the time the listing agents don't know, they don't want to represent that it is warrantable, they let the lenders do that. So our borrowers come to us, and the first thing I do when I get a condo is I immediately do a condo questionnaire. I'm going to send that over, and I'm going to get the homeowners association to fill out that 3-page form, and if they say yes to anything on that form, it's non-warrantable. It's going to kick it out, because every one of those questions is geared towards figuring out that, look, if you tell me yes on this, it's a dead deal and we're not going to finance it. So we figure that stuff out very quickly up front to make sure we know if it's warrantable or non-warrantable. So if you're thinking about getting a condominium, give us a call at Just Mortgages because we are the condo experts. If you like this video and you're ready to buy your condo, give the experts at Just Mortgages a call or visit our website.